All right, guys, welcome back inside the Pablo. Like we start every podcast with a Bible verse, and today's Bible verse led us to. I'm gonna go off the first one right here. So John 3:16. For this is how God loved the world; He gave His one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in Him will not perish but have eternal life. John 3:16. And today's verse led us to Isaiah 26:4. Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock. Isaiah 26:4. And with that being said, I'm with.
How you guys doing? Norberto Gonzalez,
Correctional officer, correct?
Correctional Officer. That's right, State of California.
So it's kind of interesting how we kind of came in contact with one another. I did corrections for a little over 10 years, and then I started running a tire shop, Good Guys Tire and Auto. And one of a guy I think he used to work with, Leva. Yeah, OG, right? Came in and we started chopping it up. And then he's like, hey, you need to meet my buddy, Gonzalez. And I was like, I am Gonzalez, bro. And then he's like, no, my guy. And so he kind of told me that, and I'll jump right in it, right? We'll just dive right in it.
Sure.
He said that you were doing the Scared Straight program.
Yes.
And I think your first 20 years you were at the Corcoran.
Yes.
Right? Was it Corcoran 1 or was it old Corcoran, new
The
Corcoran?
only Corcoran that exists. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, come on, bro. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's deeply rooted with me. Corcoran, CSB Corcoran. And then you have what they refer to as Corcoran 2 at SATF.
Okay.
But the original Corcoran. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. And then so kind of like, well, break it down to us. Kind of let us know a little bit about yourself. And obviously you're introducing yourself to everyone out there and just kind of let us know a little bit about you, how you started and how you got into corrections and kind of like lead us into how you started becoming the Scared Straight officer.
Well, my roots go back. I grew up in Fresno County, Huron, Kalinga.
Okay.
A lot of my heart goes out to the folks out there. Still got family out there in Huron.
Nice. We just interviewed the Tri-City boys out there. So there's a lot of, Huron. I just found out Tri-City is Huron, Kalinga, and Avenel.
Yeah.
Right?
It's always been like that. Back in the days in the 80s, way before your time, that was, that's when we used to battle with them. But I was considered a country boy. Went up in the ranches and grew up like everybody else did around here, right? No different than being out here in Fireball, Mendota. Grew up from a split family, mom and dad. Mom lived in Lemoore, so got a little older and went to Lemoore, lived with my mom. Started running the little streets over there, getting into trouble. Watching my mom struggle, holding down 2 jobs, raising 2 of us. So I got into trouble, assault and battery, and landed in with a probation department, Kings County. So they mandated me to attend a Scared Straight, reaching out convicts to kids in Corcoran back in 1990.
Okay.
I was 15.
I was 2.
Yeah, I was 2. So I was 15, and I did that on a Saturday morning with a probation department. And it wasn't the stigma of Scared Straight, just to get that clear.
Yeah.
It was educational for me. And to this day, I use that when I started running a program at Valley State Prison, But for me, it wasn't about yelling and screaming like most people like to see.
Yeah.
Like what we've seen on TV or in the movies. This is totally different. These were OG inmates that sat me down and talked to me. They got to the root of my issues. Surprisingly, they got down to what was really causing me to do what I was doing, act out in the streets. And that was my upbringing, my family, my dad.
Yeah.
So that always clicked with me like, wow. So long story short, what helped me was actually a Sureño, Mexican, who corresponded with me for a year.
Okay.
Through letters. So it wasn't a therapist. It wasn't, the homeboy down the street or a cousin. No, ironically, it was an inmate.
Yeah.
Who helped me. So that helped create a little mold in me. That's where little by little I started chopping away of, okay, what am I going to be? Who am I going to be? Well, I want to be a CO from the age of 15. Back then, it was just Avenel and Corcoran that were built.
Okay.
And
so Pleasant Valley wasn't built yet?
Oh no, Pleasant Valley.
Okay.
SATF broke ground in '97. So the original were Corcoran and Chowchilla.
Okay.
So most of my friends, their dads were all COs.
Yeah. Especially in that area, right?
Basically in that area. So the irony was, I ended up working with them, with the dads, 6 years later.
Yeah.
I went back and I started working in the same program with the kids, met the same inmates that helped me. And I said, yeah, right. And I didn't know it was an impact for them that they met somebody, a CO, a staff member that went to their program as a kid. And
kind of like a full circle moment.
yeah, for them, I thought it was like, oh, no big deal, but it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
because you showed those inmates like, wow, we had an impact on this gentleman who could have ended up being with us.
Right.
However, he's on that side now working with us, kind of helping out, the youth.
That's right. That's right. So, so I clicked with them.
Yeah.
So a little bit was like, oh, okay, I feel I'm already dealing with the anxiety of a whole, my new career.
Yeah.
But it's like I knew these guys and they knew me.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I grew up with those guys right there. I know those guys. So
yeah. Especially if, like you said, the one was corresponding with you.
Yeah.
Kind of, in a way, molding you, guiding you.
Yeah. His name was Donald Maestas.
Okay.
I remember him, Donald Maestas, and he was my height, little guy. But he ended up paroling, and I knew a guy in SSU. They said, oh, yeah, the dude dropped out. He dropped out of the gangs, and he lives out here somewhere. Who knows? He disappeared.
Yeah.
So, my thing was, if I ever run into this guy, I'm going to buy him a beer. Say, hey, thank you.
Yeah.
I owe it to him. So from there, my career started October 31st of '98. Went to the academy.
Halloween,
yeah.
Wow.
I drove to Galt. That's where the second chapter of my life started.
Yeah, because before that, you were in the Marines, right?
I joined the Marines, right?
Yeah.
So still learning, still young and green. But a big part was the department.
Yeah.
It was really where I really had to man up, so to speak. And because I look at it back then, I'm going to be 51, next month. And the Marines did help. They created a template of my life for me. But the department
kind of gave you some structure.
They gave me some structure.
Yeah.
Or they introduced structure to me.
Yes.
And I was able to understand it and either accept it or not. I accepted it, kind of liked it, and it flowed with me. And then came CDC.
Yes.
Without the R yet.
Okay. Right. That was CDC back then. Okay.
Right. So back then was CDC. And I was 23, walking into Corcoran. And it was, here's your equipment. There's your prison yard. Go to work.
There was no chattel. There was no FTO just kind of like, here's your keys and go figure it out. And then, along the way, ask questions. Yeah.
And that was a big thing in the department was ask and ask and ask. Don't need stupid questions and one not asked. Think before you do something. Back then, what I walked into, like many others, was the climatic environment. That black cloud was just slowly started to dissipate around the prison. The gladiator fights, booty bandit, everything that everybody now see on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I was walking into that, the feds having an office in the middle of the prison, to be up and close with the prison, make sure they're following the rules and whatever. A lot of sentiment, uneasiness with a lot of the OGs. I mean, I started there by myself. I didn't show up with a class of new officers. I showed up by myself. Maybe one time working in the SHU, in the security housing unit, because the mentality, just a footnote, the mentality from a SHU cop to the mainline cop was different.
Yeah.
Which I'll just say overall was weird. It was just different. So they're much more close-knit, hush-hush.
You're talking about the SHU cops?
The SHU cops.
Yeah.
Aside from the inmates, it was the cops.
Yeah.
That was my biggest obstacle. But like anything else, they say I had to earn my bones.
And do you think like the shoe cops were different than obviously mainline cops because of the sophistication in the shoe unit
Yeah, it's a
with
good
inmates?
point. It was, and along with the fact that, because back then the shoe was pretty basic. It was just gangsters,
Yeah.
right? Then you had a couple buildings that had the heavy hitters in them, right? Like Artie Guzman, and you have then we had the Grijalva brothers, the Mexican mafia, right?
Okay.
And then a bunch of other guys that lived in that building with them. So even those cops that worked in that building, it was a different mode with them. I worked in the shoe buildings where guys are just regular inmates, house, gang members, whatnot, troublemakers, how the cops interacted with them. And then I worked in the buildings where it was the generals themselves, and those cops, how they interacted with them, the watching their interaction. That's how much I just got really psychologically impacted by it, because I'd take notes.
Yeah.
I go, man, they treat these guys different. And I'm sure a lot of them watching be like, no, we didn't. They did.
Yeah.
Because I was able to see that. And not to say they gave them more or less. It was just a different relationship. But I understood why. Because you don't want to disrespect somebody. Being a cop, disrespect a high risk gang member, a leader, and you can all of a sudden you're going to get notes on your front door. That's happened.
Yeah.
And he's not just some regular guy. He'll reach out. They can reach out to you. So
I think that's important. We could touch on that a little bit later.
Sure.
But I'm gonna let you kind of finish. But I'm just taking the notes right here to bring it back up.
So the Scared Straight went for a while in Corcoran that I worked with, and then it phased out. Politics, whatever.
But okay, so let's go back. Let's touch on it. So you're October 31st, 98. You're in the academy then.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get out of the academy at that time. Was it 3 months?
It was 6 weeks.
Oh, okay, so
the joke is 6 days. I go, that's basically what it was. 6 weeks.
6 weeks, and then boom, they get you your keys, right?
That's it.
You obviously you learn. You're doing shoe, and you're doing act. In the main yard, main line. So when did it come to how did Scare Straight even come to your way? Like, is it because the way you kind of built? Obviously, coming from building the military, you said you had a little bit of an advantage as far as the discipline and the structure.
Right.
But so how did they pick Gonzalez to be Scared Straight, or did you volunteer for it, or was it an email came out, or how did that happen?
A friend of mine, lieutenant,
Okay.
At the time, he had hit me up about it. But this was like a decade later, over a decade later.
Okay, so like in 2008.
No, let's go to 2000. I was still in Corcoran, 2014, 13 or 14.
Oh, okay, so it's like a little ways.
Right,
Okay.
it was a little ways away. And the idea that he came up with was, and another guy, Dennis, was, let's start this, going. I said, yeah, let's do it.
And was it were they getting because obviously Scare Straight's with the youth, right?
Right.
So were they getting plenty of kids going and getting in trouble, and then were you guys just trying to come up with a solution, and they kind of started talking, and then how did that come about?
A buddy, Dennis, he's still in Corcoran right now. He had a couple of outlets that he knew personally could okay, let's jumpstart it.
Okay.
And because it's not something you can go around with flyers and hand out.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Which later we end up doing that, creating little pamphlets. And so we had a Porterville, a continuation out of Porterville that I think to this day still visits Corcoran. The principal, very Christian oriented gentleman, started bringing his boys. As far as Corcoran and I know Valley State Prison, we don't allow girls.
Okay.
Not for safety, just girls. I have my own girls, my own daughters. It's a different vibe. And
I can tell you that I have a 6-year-old, so
right.
I get it.
Yeah. So it's a different vibe, and even for inmate mentors being men,
Yeah.
it's a lot for them. It brings out different triggers.
Yeah, for sure.
And so to keep it an even keel playing field, okay, men will work with the young boys. and we keep it simple like that.
Yeah.
And
Especially in prison with all the politics.
yeah, exactly. To add to that, so our first pilot, because we're so anxious and ambitious with this,
And this is 13, 14-ish?
right?
Okay.
13, 14, yeah. So we brought in two. We learned a lesson from it.
Yeah.
We brought in two foster homes, and you'd think outside the box that hey, this is a good thing, but then you, like anything else, it at the end. Thankfully, the warden, Davies back then, loved him to death. He laughed about it later on. What happened was the foster homes. Well, they brought boys and girls.
Oh.
So now you're bringing two different entities from two different locations, and already it's dangerous to bring boys from one town from another, right? Say Fireball and Mendota,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, rivals.
Rivals,
Yeah.
and it could be deeper than that.
And gangs and all
All
this
that.
stuff, yes.
Yeah. So, but because of our love for it, we just overlooked it. And because we're thinking they're kids. How bad can kids be? Well, they were, the girls were worse than the boys.
Yeah.
Girls were, they started, one girl slapped another girl assaulted another girl, and we're breaking it up. And a tough part for me was, grabbing staff and saying, hey, we're not going to baton them. We're not going to pepper spray them. We're not going to do that. Because I started hearing things like, hey, we're not doing that. We're going to handle them as if they were like your kids. We're just going to grab them, separate them. And thankfully at the time, you have level-headed administrators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always important.
They had Miss Castro, love her to death. She was there, and she's kind of laughing a little bit like, what the hell's going on? And we're like, ma'am, we got it. Just kids are being kids. And she's like, so even the mentors are like, what do we do?
Mentors mean inmates?
The inmates,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
Say, hey, guys, just back up. And so from that was our pilot day.
Yeah.
That was our first and only day like that. And, we debriefed with the warden that same day. He happened to be at a meeting. Hey, we got to talk to you, sir. And he kind of chuckled about it. He goes, damn kids. Gotta love them. I go, I know. Yeah, I gotta we don't, the scary part is if it gets to Sacramento,
it can get bad.
They'll shut you down.
Yeah.
And
so you're trying to start something good, and it's like before you could even start, it's gonna be like
people get scared of litigation
and conflict.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you got to stand there before people in suits and say, look, which my lieutenant drugged me to a meeting one time, and this is where it opened up my eyes to how even your own brothers and sisters have a perception. It's pretty sad, but I'm open-minded. And I didn't get upset, but he says to a couple of the suits and ties, because a lot of them were doubtful. This doesn't work in the community. And I'm like, wow, you guys are all experts then. You guys have it all figured out. Wow, why don't we share this with the counties, Kings and Tulare and Fresno, and tell them that you have a solution since this never works. And so the lieutenant goes, okay, Gonzalez, let me talk. And then he asked three of them. He says, have you ever met anybody that this worked for? And it hit me right there. I went, he's going to use me.
Ooh,
and they're like, no, that's impossible. I stood there and I went, now I'm like, tell him, Pete, tell him. You ever met somebody who's gone through Job Corps? I went to Job Corps in Utah. My mom sent me out there. And
so you were travieso?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, and just got tired of getting jumped, so they sent me back home. I go, I want to learn my lesson. So they're like, no, you never met anybody in the Job Corps? You ever met anybody, any co-workers or partners that, a lot of us have rough upbringings. Yeah. You ever met anybody who's gone through a program like this, or say at this prison? I said, no. Well, you have now, Gonzalez. So they literally...
Damn, that's powerful.
They sat there and just said, wow, we would
have never imagined.
Said He said, don't. So, my buddy Pete says, don't judge a book by its cover. Everybody has a story. Let us do what we know how to do. Let Gonzalez do what he knows how to do. Because I was burning a lot of my time. I'd go to the schools, I'd call out sick, and it's not paid back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, now a lot of friends said, "Oh, you should have said you're doing it." I go, look, listen, it sounds easy, but when you say I'm going to go do this, they shoot you down at the prison. And I said, okay, fine. And so I started visiting different programs around the valley and just taking mental notes on things that I wanted to incorporate or not incorporate, and then helping our program and Corcoran at the time create a different mold. And one thing I've sat down with Dinuba PD, Dinuba superintendents, Arosi, Cutler, and I told them, I'm here on my own dime. I go, my purpose here is to not stress to you how important, not only how important the kids are, but, we don't have that many kids that are in continuation. And I asked the superintendent, I go, wait, I think you lost me. I said, who says they just want kids that are in continuation? So then I asked them, I said, ladies and gentlemen, what kids are at risk in your communities or in all communities? Well, the ones that are doing drugs. And I go, so we wait until the ones that are doing drugs and doing bad things, we wait, and then we can say they're at risk? Are your kids at risk? They're at home? How about the kids that parents make $400,000 a year? Are they at risk? They are at risk too. Every child around you is at risk. Even the quarterback of the football team is at risk, because at any moment, that kid who doesn't receive a good lecture or an example, like
Proper guidance,
drinking and driving. And I told him about guys I knew. I said, hey, I know a kid who's 24 years old, who's doing 8 years in prison for drinking and driving. He graduated. The same night he graduated, went on drinking, crashed his car, killed his girlfriend. They gave him 8 years. That's how fast it happens. It's not about gangs and drugs only. It's about the kid. I go, so fast forward to Valley State Prison, where I changed.
Valley State Prison, just so everyone out there that doesn't know, is Chowchilla, right?
It's in Chowchilla, yeah. It's across the street from the women's prison.
Okay.
So again, with the Scared Straight, I changed the whole mantra of it. I didn't want it to be, I say Scared Straight because that's how we recognize it.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, it's more of an outreach.
Yes.
With the kids. And I keep telling people that, but
yeah, I believe when we talked, it's kind of funny because our first conversation was 3.5 hours on Sunday, and we talked about all this that I'm once again, I'm letting you talk so they can understand.
Sure. Yep.
But we talked about Scared Straight, like you just said to them. It's not about scaring the youth. No. It's about, like you said, having a conversation, understanding, letting them know.
Right.
And every kid is different. And I say now, you let them know it's because it happened to you.
Right.
And so you knew the program worked.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yep. So what I stress to the public, like you guys, so I hope you guys take notes.
Yeah,
is that I want, I want the program to continue in that manner. Thankfully, a buddy of mine, Jerry Lutz, great guy, he volunteered to take over the program. Mm-hmm. It's sad because we don't have more people stepping up to it, because I tell them there's no overtime in it. You got to volunteer time during working hours. It's hard. It's tough. Because we got to knock on doors. I got to go knock on big brother and big sisters in Madera. I took a day off from work to go during Christmas this past year at 7 p.m. to go talk to 7 families to convince them that, and their kids were fine. They weren't in trouble, but some of the single parents were like, I feel like my kid's lost, my boys. I said, well, give them to me.
Were they reaching out to you, the program, at that point?
The manager was from the Madera office.
Got it.
And because she heard through the grapevine. So I said, you know what? I told my wife and kids, hey, I'm gonna disappear for the evening. I gotta go over here. And she already knew, like, okay, go do your thing. So
it's always good to have a supportive wife.
Yeah. So I went out there and met with 7 families and had to convince these moms and these dads and families that, hey, they're thinking prison, that the program's fine, it's safe, and this is what we can help you with.
Yeah, this is
as
our
best
goal.
that we can.
Yeah.
And when I stress to them, like I do to everybody, it's not about just gangs and drugs. That's almost easy. I go, how do you, and I even challenge staff. That's where I get a lot of my flack is from staff.
Yeah, for sure.
My partners, and I tell them, how do I answer the question to a 13-year-old boy who says, I'm gay? How do I tell my dad? Just you got to be ready to answer that question, to help guide him. He opened up to you, or to the inmate mentor, and no one else, not to the school counselors, not to the school resource officers, but to an inmate. How do we answer that? So in the program, we train the inmates. We train and we talk and to find the kind and compassionate words to help that little kid. Because it's not drugs, not gangs. It could go into that if he doesn't get the guidance, the help.
If we don't figure out the issue.
Issue, right?
Because why are you acting out?
Right.
There's always a reasoning behind the actions.
And we tell them, look, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And thank you for being really brave and sharing that with us. I know it's hard. And then that's where we pull in the counselor with us. Hey, you need to hear this. So that counselor can find the resources for the family and for him to create that environment over there, wherever in Madera, per se, right? Because Madera's our backyard. So we're like, oh, good. Okay, that's one kid. Now, what's the next issue? Because it's not always gangs and drugs.
Yeah.
So it throws people off, like, what? And I go, yeah, it's not, and I asked staff, because they're the ones that really push that nerve in me. I said, because a lot of them think they know. And said, do you know in Fresno County, the grade of kids that are actively having sex? And they're like, junior high. It's always junior high and high school. Nope, it's fourth and fifth grades.
Really?
They're being caught in the alley. Yeah, they're doing it in the alley, like after school.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I would have guessed junior high as well.
Well, the poison's on their phone, right?
Yeah, that's
they all
true.
They all have phones.
Yeah, everybody has a phone.
It's an open book for them, right? So no, and I get that because I've worked with Fresno, the city of Fresno. I spoke on a day off again with last year with 45 great Fresno cops. They're resource officers. I think like every school has a resource cop. I'm not sure elementary schools. I know that the junior highs and the high schools do.
Yeah.
They
I think they do, because I just had an officer named Yabrowski on, and he does like K through 6.
Oh, okay, that is so.
So I think they're trying to implement it now.
So I met a sergeant. They came on a tour with junior high one time, and it started Sergeant Lai. I think that was his name, Asian guy. He says, "Hey, can you come out talk to my guys?" I said, "Yeah." I expected, and he said my guys like 3 or 4. He had a whole classroom set up of uniform. I've never done that ever. It seemed funny, little awkward at first. They were all in their blues with pins and notepads out, and it was a beautiful thing,
Yeah, sounds like
There was a captain. I think there was like 1 or 2 lieutenants and a couple sergeants, and and 45 cops. I told them, okay, this is who I am. And I started with, okay, once upon a time. And they're like, whoa. I said, yeah. I go, so I don't do this because I get paid extra. I don't do this because I'm going to promote. I retire in about a year at that time. And I'm finishing off something that in my career, I hope that I can pass down to somebody to take over. But it's going to be someone who loves doing it, because people want to get paid, and all of a sudden I had one school after another they're on the list coming to Valley State Prison. So I've been in Valley State Prison now, and I'm kind of jumping around.
No, you're good.
About 7 years. I transferred the end of 2018. When I hit 20 years, I decided, told the family I'm done. There's nothing else in Corcoran that I need to accomplish, to do. The drive was tough. That's over an hour. I said, I'm done. I'm done here. Now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to take everything that I've learned, and I appreciate everybody who's helped me throughout the years over there. And especially the veterans that went and retired, and let's see what I can do at VSP. So I've been there, and now I decided that it's time to retire now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, it sounds like it's been a ride, right? And a lot of it has to do with like your love for it, your love to help the young Gonzalez out there that was a young kid that was getting in trouble, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask you. I've been asking everybody on my, in season 2 is, what's your relationship like with the Lord?
I've had I think the darkest time for me was when I stopped talking to him. I think that's when it hit me. I was in Iraq in 2004. Got there in what year? God, beginning of the summer, March, April of 2004. And then I was in northern Iraq, and then I got pushed into the fight for Fallujah. I'm sure a lot of the viewers have probably had friends or family or themselves, in there. Army. These are Army Marines, big operation. Mm-hmm. We had to push out a city, like to say the size of Fresno.
Oh, so big! It's a big city.
Big city. The city of mosques, and there was like over 20,000 of us. So it was a big ground operation, and just a lot of things happened. I used to tell the guys at work, there was no calling out sick. There was no, hey, I'm not going to make it the next day. There was no holiday. You lose a guy one day, you got to go back to work the next day. You got to, it was.
There's no feelings there. It's just kind of move on.
Yeah. You just hold it in, and you take a deep breath and say, okay, hopefully I don't lose another guy. A lot of us accepted the fact that if I get hit, personally, then you can't control it. So you kind of go numb to it. There's not the fear, or the paranoia kind of went away a little bit. You're still uneasy, but it's not like this deep rooted fear. Because you're like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's kind of like working in prison. Hey, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of a crazy mindset to have, right? Like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like, not a lot of people can have that mindset.
Yeah. And then while you have that mindset, you're going through the dead bodies in the streets, stacking dead bodies in the back of a truck. You're like, oh God. And you're just looking at like something, like everything for me was very internal. Like, I was like, I used to see this in magazines. I used to see this on, or on the internet.
Or a movie.
In a movie, like I'm looking at a Toyota truck with 9 mangled bodies of the enemy. And you're like, all right, when's lunch? And you just keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. So after, my unit over there, we lost 19 guys in 8 months. So, but while I was out there, it was just like, I'm like, I don't got to talk to you. I'm done with you. Where's the look on the bright side? Where's the bright side? What? Oh, I'm happy that I woke up today. Like, I go, you know what? Maybe I'll talk to you later. And I go, right now it's not a good time.
Yeah.
And a lot of us felt that way. Like I'm not going to pray. Like, for what? So that's why I have on my arm. I lost these 3 guys in Iraq. buddies of mine in Afghanistan. I lost 2 in Afghan.
Well, R.I.P. to your brother.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, because I tell people like this, you know, working in the field, right, in corrections,
Yeah.
I come across a lot of military, you know, gentlemen and women, and I could never sit here and even pretend that I know anything about what you gentlemen and women have to go through, you know. So I always tell people like, I'm always gonna have a big respect for military, for law enforcement, for people in general, because I think with this podcast, and you just true, like you said, you never know what someone is going through. You don't understand the demons that someone battles, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear someone come on the internet, well, I'll just trust God, just trust the Lord. Like, it's not as easy as you think, you know.
Right.
And but I'm gonna let you finish because you know you said you had kind of went away from him. So like, how, you know, obviously, just how has it been since then? I mean, have you grown with him and started to talk more, or is it still kind
Yeah.
of you know?
Once once I came home in 2004, I was airlifted out of Fallujah.
Okay.
I tore my meniscus, my right knee. So they flew me out to Germany. I came home, and then I never took time off. Went back to work. It healed, and then the Marine said, "Okay, you're done. You can now we're gonna cut you loose, and you can go back to your civilian job." And I'm like, "Oh man, here we go." So that's when I basically asked God, "Hey, just I'm back in another battle in the prison walls." And had open arms, thankfully, from a lot of the staff back then. When I came back in 2005, Corcoran really, because the war was heavy back then in Iraq. So another buddy of mine, another Gonzalez, Fidel, came back with a Purple Heart. You know, my demons met his demons, and we talked, and we just said, "Hey, let's just keep pushing." You know, to show staff that, hey, we went through hell. We went through it. We didn't stay there. We came home. We're going to have another little battle we got to deal with internally. We're going to go through it. But staff made it hard, though, to be honest with you. Staff, you know, the guys, macho. Did you kill anybody? Did you this? We're like, oh, man.
You wouldn't imagine.
Like, oh, man. Thankfully, you get one cop saying, really, guys? That's how you attack them? I'm not attacking them. You know, so I've been in a lot of conversations like that in the middle of, you know, downtime at the prison, and like, you know,
There's a lot of downtime.
there's a lot of downtime.
You know, when it's not a busy day, right?
Yeah, and guys want to talk about it. I'm like, oh man, this is, you know, or their kids want to join the Marines, or, you know, I've had friends, coworkers, hey, talk to my son, try to convince him not to join the Marines. I went, how do you want me to what? Like, I can't do that. I said, it's like asking a preacher, can you convince my son not to believe in God? I go, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. But look what you went through. I go, doesn't mean I hate the Marines. I go, I can't do that. I said, but you know, the morbid part of it was staff would say, well, all my kids are going to work for CDC, because I know a lot of staff like that. I go, you convince all your kids, because they're all boys, to join the department? Yeah, I'm like, that's pretty bold. That's brave, because the department's changing. And, you know, it's like saying, and then you ask them, well, you know, what we've been through, you're willing to expose them that because of the benefits? You know, it's always the benefits.
I like how you're going into that, because we kind of conversated about this. So one of the things that when me and Gonzalez here were talking, you know, we started kind of going back and forth. Obviously, you giving me yours and I've given you mine. Nowhere near, you know, obviously his resume, but I have the 10 plus years I could relate as far as when it comes to corrections, right? And I think we both got into the conversation where we wanted to say, you know, why do you want to become a CO, right?
Oof.
And a lot of times is because a lot of people look at it on paper and they look at the money. They look at the health benefits, they look at the retirement, they look at the medical, right? But I truly don't think people understand what they're getting themselves into when it comes to the mental aspect, you know, mental health, you know, all the stuff they're going to see, they're going to go through. Yeah. And that's just dealing with sometimes just staff. That's not even dealing with inmates yet.
Right.
You know, sometimes obviously like you, right? You were blessed in a way to have an inmate take you under the wing and they show you. I can say in my career, I was blessed to say a lot of inmates took me under their wing and was like, no, hey, you don't do it this way, you do it this way, or hey, don't do this, or kind of giving me, and so it changed, but I started that way, right?
Right.
And I think if it could be like a double, triple whammy if you're going into bad, right?
Right.
But I mean, I'm gonna ask you that kind of like the people out there that you see kind of going into it for those reasons. What do you see now? Like you said, the department's changing, obviously starting in '98 to where you're at today.
I've asked, mainly being at Valley State Prison, not particularly because of that prison, but
Yeah.
My time grew much more as a veteran cop, and then you watch the young ones come in. I mean, young ones not as in age, but also
Experience.
those with in tenure. Those are just starting.
Yeah.
So you could, as we all know, we got cops that come in when they're in their 30s, a few in their 40s. But I'll ask them, what made you want to be CO? And then I'll tell them. I'll tell them, I'm not asking you in a sarcastic way. I'm asking you, being sincere.
Yeah. Like, why are you here?
Why do you want to be a CO? And 9 times out of 10, it's you know what, the benefits look good, and the money, and then I go into which may seem like I'm bad mouthing, but I'm not, because I can't bad mouth something that the department has put out there in black and white, and because I used to be a recruiter, and that was short lived because
Recruiter for the department for CDCR.
For CDCR,
Okay.
right? Every prison has a representative.
Got it.
Right, and these representatives will go in our uniforms to the fair. We go to schools and like job fairs and whatnot. And you talk about the money, and it says you can make $110,000 a year, big bold numbers. And after a while, when I was a recruiter, I did it for about 6 months. And I'll be honest to say, it left me with I had to do it for myself, for me to be able to speak on it. And I just say, well, a buddy of mine did it, and this is what he told me. No, I went and did it, and I went to this training we had, and it was the recruiters that are not officers. They work for the recruitment department of the department up in Sacramento. And they put everything together. They put all the posters, and they create all this and that. And
they do the marketing pretty much.
All the marketing.
Yeah.
So I said, asking what are their expectations when we go out? What do you push for the benefits, push for this? I went, do we talk about our experiences? No, stay away from that. Stay. And I looked at it as in, I understand why. Because we're going to scare them away.
For sure.
Right? You got to sell that car, no matter what type of history it has, right? So I just said, no.
That's a good example.
I said, no, I can't. I can't keep doing this. I feel like I'm
deceiving. In a way.
Deceiving. Because I was asked by the public. A lot of it, older guys on the side, asked me because they saw my hash marks and said, "Man, you've been doing this a long time."
I think everyone is 3 years for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I asked them, but I know
you got 9.
I got 9. Yeah.
Wow, respect.
So I'll ask that gentleman, that civilian, why are you thinking about corrections? I know a lot of them are having they're hitting a rough patch in their personal lives. I said, okay, are you ready for the inevitable? They're like, what do you mean? I said, okay. So I throw things at them. I said, this is what you could deal with. You possibly deal with, possibly. It could happen, it may not happen. From a riot to somebody squaring up on them. So I gave them the lowest example possible to the heaviest example.
Yeah.
And I knew, though, unfortunately, that this is not what the department wants me to do. So I'm going to walk away from it. I'm going to walk away from from doing that task, and let the younger cops, because what I see on our internet for the department, I went, yeah, these are a lot of young cops right here. A lot of the older ones are not doing it. But hey, I say kudos to them. Okay. I'm not going to be one to say, oh, they drank that water, as they say. I said, no, their hearts guide them in a different way. My heart guides me in a different way. I'm not sitting here and badmouth them. No, not at all. Not one bit. My standard is different, as it is with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I go, the way I walk in the department, even friends would say, even our friend Leva would say, yeah, G walks differently. He's a different guy. Yeah. I don't, as long as I'm not violating any rules, safety and security of the prisons, and blatantly disrespecting, people in a very ugly way. No, I said, no, I'll speak if I know what I'm talking about, or not. I won't say nothing if I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but for those staff that I do talk to and ask, are you ready? This could change your mindset about things in life. And someone like, what do you mean? And I shared things with them. I said, it could. Much more people get vexed when they're going through things at home. Divorces, issues with their kids in school. A lot of it is divorce.
Yeah.
And it's not always because he's my spouse is a CEO and he's changing and that's why we're divorcing. No, it's not that. It's not. That's like out of a movie.
Yeah.
I always say, no. Usually with partners, they're saying, hey, stop trying to be that guy. And then they're like, what do you mean? The guy with 2 wives. And I know a lot of people are like, ooh. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have partners like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Then because the divorce is a ripple effect of that action. We all know that.
Yeah.
And we start having these extramarital flings, then you get caught, and then you're going to court, then you're dealing with paying out money, and then here comes the stress. The stress is right there on that shoulder.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming, right? It's growing.
It's
like a tsunami.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's a tsunami growing. Building. Yes. That tidal wave is getting big.
Yeah.
And you got to pay bills. You don't have that home anymore. Now you're dealing with prison life.
And then remember, you haven't even touched on the politics of the prison yet.
The politics of prison.
Yeah, that's so true.
And you're mad at the world. You're upset. You're down because of what you did.
Yeah.
And you're hating on those that are very nice. They're outgoing. Your partners.
Yeah.
And then it takes a strong partner to say, hey, it's going to be okay. You're going to lose your boat, your jet skis. You're going to lose your house. Yeah, okay. But we remain calm. Don't take it out on the world. Look in the mirror. We don't look in the mirror.
Yeah.
We don't do that. You better do some soul searching, bro.
That's true.
I don't want you to lose your job because this inmate did something and you took it to a 10.
Yeah.
And then we got to find a way to try to justify, not clean it up, but just
articulate.
Justify and say, oh, he's going through, and he's going through some things. It's like, yeah. But when they tear it apart, management, and says, oh, well, you caused your mess. And then you went and did this, and then you throw everybody else in. And so that ripple effect gets huge because every ripple is something that the root of it is what you did, but every ripple is a cause and effect. And every ripple is bad.
Yeah.
And it gets bigger and bigger. You want to know where I learned that from?
Where?
For the inmates.
Yeah. No, they teach you.
Because they go through so much training to try to better themselves, and because a lot of them want to go home. But regardless of why they take the classes, I've sat on some of them classes I've walked in on, and just listened to, okay, what's this subject about?
Yeah.
And criminal thinking. And I'm like, oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the ripple effect, and I always kept it in mind. What am I doing now? What type of ripple effect is going to happen by me doing this one thing?
Yeah.
Will every ripple be positive? Who is it affecting from the start to finish until that ripple disseminates?
Yeah.
Who did it affect? And did it affect them positive or negative? And the fortunate thing with the department is they hand you a phone number, EAP.
What does that mean? EAP.
God, I wish I knew what it meant.
That's all good.
It's
I'm only asking because
employee advocacy program.
Okay.
Because I got handed a phone number after a shooting.
It's kind of like
a riot. I had a riot shooting, and I've been back from Iraq about a year in Corcoran, and an 80-man riot. I had to fire the mini rifle, deadly force. I had to fire it 4 times. All warning shots.
Okay.
And back then it was rare. Nobody fired. People were too afraid, and afraid of litigation.
Yeah.
And I did. That switch came on, and I did do my job. And I was handed by a lieutenant. I judged this man, not everybody else. I judged this man on his leadership character. Mm-hmm. And instead of saying, "Hey, how are you doing? You want to sit down? You need something?" I mean,
yeah.
He goes. He handed me a Post-it with a phone number. "Hey, call a lawyer in Fresno." I go, "What am I call a lawyer for?" "Oh, because you fired the rifle." And I go, "You're gonna hand me a Post-it?" And my partner was an OG. He goes, "Hey, come on, man, come down the hallway. Don't worry about him." But it's sad. It's sad when I had that experience. But I know, from other partners throughout other prisons, they've had different experiences, positive ones, good leaders.
Yeah.
I unfortunately had, I've experienced a couple bad ones.
I just think you're being real. I mean, at the end of the day, you're speaking on what a lot of people won't speak on, because you kind of hit a button with me. I mean, you talk about, I think a lot of times when you become officers, right? You obviously coming from military, but when we put that uniform on, you get the badge, you get into a certain unit, you start feeling, like, oh, I'm the man. I got a little bit of power now. I can tell this guy, hey, put your hands on the wall. He has to do it, or whatever the case may be, right? Then being married or not, girlfriend or not, baby mama or not, vice versa for the girls, husband or not, baby father or not, whatever, boyfriend or not, you start getting attention, and I say men and women, right?
Right.
And then we work so often, meaning you're doing your 8, 12, 16-hour shifts with these officers, nurses, whatever, people that are working in the prison. You get to know them. You like you said, a lot of times on downtime, you're conversating, right? Imagine if you have a female cop that's your partner, you and her. I mean, I know it may not initially start it that way,
sure,
but you start getting to know them. They talk about their issues at home, and you're talking about your issues at home, and before you know it, hey, you want to go get a drink because you can't drink on job,
right?
So now you get closer, and stuff happens, and things start, like you said, the ripple effect. Everything starts kind of happening. And I look at it like I don't believe in karma. You reap what you sow, right?
Right.
And a lot of it, like you said, taking accountability for your actions.
That's it.
Right. And I think we get so caught up in, like I tell you, like you hit it, money. So you're not only are you dealing with all your stuff at home as a regular person would deal with, now you come into, you haven't even touched on the prison politics yet.
No.
You haven't even touched on if you have a bad yard, if you have, if you're in the shoe unit and you have certain inmates, I've seen there's certain influencers out there now that talk about, law enforcement, correction specifically, I'm gonna give one of them his Alex Turan.
Yeah.
He talks about that one inmate that's like a psych. He's kind of crazy. He does the little skit, and it's kind of funny because that's what you deal with. Like,
Right.
you do have inmates that way. Like if you piss them off,
Yep.
hey, where's Gonzalez at? Has Gonzalez got here yet?
Yeah.
And it's true. And I laugh, and I think it's kind of spot on because that's how it can be. And so now you're dealing with, say, the wife or the husband sees the phone, the text messages between you and your partner, or you and the nurse, or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
And then now you're dealing with drama at home on top of a drama that was already there. Bills. Now like with me, it literally came all at once. I never had issues at work.
Right.
And then when I started having issues at work on top of having issues at home, and then boom, I couldn't balance it. And the reason I initially walked away is because I was like you. I was doing not scared straight, but I was doing like orientation. I was a corporal, like a leader, and I started becoming upset with my department. And they're gonna look at me like I brought a lot of these officers on board. I was already a training officer. Now you're gonna see me go talk bad about the department because I had basically caused this on myself, right? And I looked at it like I don't want to be that guy, so I stepped away.
Right.
I need to go clear my head, and I'll come back. And then when I cleared my head, I found out who I was.
Right.
Because I jumped in it like you. I didn't go to the military, but I got my wife pregnant, early. So you figure out military or law enforcement to get money right away,
Right.
get stuff coming in. Because now you got a son, or at the time I was gonna have a little boy, so I have a child to support. You're not gonna have a family, so you go into law enforcement, and at first, you come in and you're this hungry young kid. You're innocent. I'm from Mendota,
Right.
I'm just right there. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Right. And then I get into the at the time classification, which is like our gang unit. So then I start hanging around with some of these officers. In the beginning, and the one thing is I always stayed respectful to inmates,
Sure.
but kind of fair but firm. Right.
Oh, yeah.
But then they start noticing you have a little bit of power. Oh, you're a classification officer. Oh, you're a corporal. You're this, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then eventually it kind of got to, it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the problems just started coming. And then, so like I said, you hit it like so spot on. I was like, man, this guy's talking about me right now. But in reality, there's a lot of officers right now that are going through that. And I feel like
many. It's I'd say statewide, not just where I work.
And then this is state and counties. This is anyone I think in law enforcement.
To assume that it's just your little circle, wherever you're assigned. No, it's a common disease that, like the cold, it'll always be around. It's not gonna go away. And if it does, it's gonna come back again. So in CDC, and one it's big for us because we're just with cops, we're over 25,000 cops. From Pelican Bay all the way to RJD, prison.
And RJD is Donovan, right?
Donovan, yeah.
And that's in like near the San Diego area.
It's on the border of Chula Vista, Mexico.
Okay.
Mexico and the California border. It's like right there. So yeah, every prison in California, you're gonna have it. You're gonna have, unfortunately, those issues.
Yeah.
The badge doesn't make you a Superman.
Yeah.
But for some, like I've explained to the young ones, don't let the badge make you. You make that badge.
Mm-hmm.
You make it what it is. Either you're gonna dishonor it, or you're gonna dishonor yourself, or both.
Yeah.
The badge is, it dates back of the old adage of, no, that's like a coat of armor. But we do abuse it. We abuse it. It'll always be abused. The negative will always, unfortunately, always outweigh the positive in the community's eyes. Media. We had a guy I worked with, Greg Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
They gave him like 200 years for what did at the women's prison, all over the news.
That's like,
yeah. And it's like, it's sad because I worked with this guy. This is one of the OGs I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Corcoran. Then he went to the women's prison. And I said it's pathetic and it's sad at the same time. It's like, but I've known throughout the years, I knew guys that more females than males, because well, come from a male institution, typically the females usually got involved with the male inmates. And I seen that good at the time, good partners that you would never think twice.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're either putting money in their books on the outside, they have P.O. boxes set up, or they're having sex in the kitchen, in some closet, and that we all have stories for days on those,
Yeah.
But it's like, what kept me going 27 years was I just said, you know what, just you do you. You worry about you. And if your partner next to you is running afoul, try to talk to him. Try to talk to him at best if you got issues at home. But then comes the magical question where the OG, the prison mentality clashes with what's right. And I'll give you one example of what do you do? Two OG cops, well, at the time they weren't OGs.
To say veterans.
Yeah, they were veterans. One I knew, one I didn't know. The one I knew, he retired as a lieutenant. Great guy, SWAT team, all that. He was a Marine, did his time in the Persian Gulf, and I love him to death. And he was approached by his sister-in-law's husband, who was also a CO at the time, to do a hit on his wife. Basically, hey, we're like family, we're good, we're boys. Would you help me, a hitman for hire? And he had weight on him heavy. What do I do? Do I just say, no? But he took him serious, and he had to, because he knew what the other guy was about. And he said, he wants me to kill his wife, which is my sister-in-law. So do I mix OG-ness with doing what's right? Do I not? Do I maintain that loyalty, right? And don't say nothing. Don't be a rat. No, he did what was right. Told law enforcement, and then they arrested him and the investigation, and he did prison time. But there's been a lot of cases like that.
Yeah.
Not that drastic, but like, what do I do? Do I turn him a boy? Do I turn him in?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Do I turn him in? What do I do? And thankfully, I've never been in that situation, because for me, I'd have been like, oh, no. I was kind of black and white, even as a youngster. Like, no, you do something stupid like that. You bring in hey, man, why you got 4 cell phones in your lunch bag?
Yeah.
Red
flags.
Me, I'm going to make a scene. I'm going to throw them on the ground. I'm going to step on them, probably slap them in the mouth. Go, you stupid? What are you, stupid? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Huh? You think I'm going to be here like, hey, homie, don't. Hey, no, dude, no, I want to make you eat them. What are you doing?
Yeah. Because that's our safety.
Yeah, exactly.
What
else are you in cahoots, man? Get out of here, man. Hey, you know what? Go see a sergeant. Tell him you're going to resign.
Yeah, get out of here.
But thankfully that never happened with me.
Yeah.
That never happened. And but there's cases like that.
Yeah.
And cases I've heard where they ask the officer, hey, why didn't you say something? It was right in front of you. Nah, man, that was none of my business. I don't want to. It's like, that is your business.
Because that's our safety.
And what I learned was from other OGs and experts are like, that mentality, that's that gangster mentality. That you're playing gangster. Just like the inmates.
Yeah, you politic like them.
No matter how bad it is, no matter if it can get, but this and that, no. It's wrong. That can get either, maybe not somebody hurt, but no, that gets somebody literally fired and get caught up. And then It's all bad.
Yeah.
But I worked around people with that mentality. No, I ain't gonna say nothing. So you're a gangster, but with a uniform on? Because I worked around cops like that too.
I think it's just like the fact that, I mean, once again, I'm just going to speak on it between you and I, because we both worked in corrections, or you were still active in it. If you were to say something, now you're labeled
Oh, you're a rat.
you're labeled the rat around.
You're a rat.
And so no one's going to want to work with you.
Until someone says, a good partner will be like, why is he a rat? Why? And I've been in those circles where it's like, why is he a rat? Well, he didn't have to do this, and he didn't go. So just not say nothing. So then I see two guys have conflict. No, I'm not. Hey, I'm not a gang member. I have a job. I'm not gonna let you let you do something, and I'm aware of it. That's totally illegal. And that's gonna constitute me losing my job and feeding my family. And you're gonna do it in front of me, and then me act like I didn't see it? It's like, no, you're done. I mean, I knew stories of guys that were going to work, the 6-pack of beer in their lunch pail.
Dang.
To go work up at the tower. Where now, decades later, you laugh about it because the guy got caught because the cans were in a trash can outside the tower down below.
Come on, bro.
I mean, like the joke was, what? I would have fired you for being an idiot.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
You're like just so, but some guys get so entangled of, I got time in.
Yeah, they can't get rid of
Oh,
it.
yeah? You can't? And then we tell like, you can't? Want to know how many associate directors, wardens have been fired for other stuff? And what you think you can get, you can't. Nobody's above the law. It just takes a matter of time until you get caught.
That's so true.
And I've seen it. And I'm thinking, hey, we just had a teacher get walked off. Loved her to death. Nicest lady. Got involved with an inmate student. And it's like, this will never, this is never going to
stop.
It's not going to stop.
It's always going to, like you said, it's just it's a different time, different era. It's always going to happen. It's never going to not.
Yeah, exactly. And after just a few months prior, we had an expert come, a retired guy come and talk to him about, the anatomy of setup. And it's like, it's like, you just went to court for a speeding ticket. And then leaving the courthouse, you went and sped and got another ticket. I mean, that's how like ignorant we get. And it's like, so at my level as a cop, we just kind of laugh and go, how many times do I got to tell you to put on your seatbelt, until your head ends up through the windshield? Now you're going to wear it? What are you doing? Mm-hmm. It's like, but like for us, it's like, hey, each to their own. You're an adult. I can't hold your hand.
I think too, when talking about that, I think that's the power of the manipulation too. Like inmates are in there all day scheming, and it starts with something small, like, "Hey, Gonzalez, let me borrow your pen."
Yeah.
When they know that we can't give them the pen, right? And if they think, "Oh, he let me borrow a pen," then they're gonna ask for something else. Because I remember, like, when I with my department, like we had an issue when and they ended up finding out who it was. It was like a nurse, but I'm once again, I don't want to say anything specific because I don't want anybody to get what, but there could have been a dirty badge or two, and I remember inmates kind of asking me one time. I worked on a floor where we caught all of it, and they were like, "Hey, I'll cash app you this amount of money if you let me use your cell phone through the shift," right? And then I had let me let you know like this, bro, like exactly what you said. I go, this badge right here don't mean shit, like it's just metal.
Yeah.
Like if I dishonor this badge, it's gonna go to another officer. I'm gonna get fired. I was like, but you see my last name? I was like, that means something to me. Meaning like my grandparents, my great grandparents, my parents, my family. I have siblings. I mean, I'm not going that in depth with them, but I said my family. This last name means something to me.
Right.
Like if I dishonor it, like I have to answer to my family. So don't ever like disrespect me with, I'm not that guy, you know, as much as, and I try to be as cool as I could. Like I try to understand, you know, coming from a small town, you'd see people you went to school with, you know, and in the beginning, I remember I would say, I am from Clovis, you know, because I didn't want no one to know I was from Mendota.
Right.
And then it's like, I couldn't hide it because it's Fresno County, you know.
Right.
I went to high school with that guy, you know, and it's like, and I was like, okay. And eventually I embraced it. Like, yeah, I'm from Mendota, bro.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, and so when they would come at me like, hey, you're from Mendo, hook me up. I'm like, exactly, I'm from Mendo. Why would you want me to put myself out there and end up in here with you? Like, let me help you. Let me get you in a program, bro. Let me make you a worker. Let's get you, like, let's help you get the fuck out of here. Like, why are you...
You're still hustling.
You know, and they're always trying to scheme. And then I think when they realize, like with me, I would tell like the Mendo cats that would make it all obvious, like, hey, hook me up. I wouldn't hook them up. Because with me, I learned politics really fast.
Right.
So, and I learned this when I was a rookie cop.
Yep.
I remember I had a good JTO. He wasn't a corporal. They used to call him like jail training officers, right? Mm-hmm. And he goes, never get laundry for nobody. He's like, we make them put it into the laundry. They shoot it and they get it. And I was like, okay, well, what if they have like messed up socks? He's like, go ahead and go do that. I mean, let me show you why. So one day
they're watching.
I got one of the some guy's socks. Well, guess what? Now everybody comes up to me.
Hey, my socks are messed up too.
And hey, I need a shirt. I need this, right? And oh no, I'm just gonna get it for him. Well, then they could turn around and grieve me. He favors the Mexicans, or he favors this, you know, blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, and then he goes, that's why you have to make them go through the process. So that way, when you get them something, no, he went through laundry, and so I always remembered that. And I remember he let me do it one night. Bro, I was running around the whole night getting laundry. I became a laundry officer. And he made sure I did it. Because he's like, no, you did it. And so guess what, bro? He goes, now you're going to take everybody's request. Well, there's 72 inmates in that housing unit. So guess what? All 72 came with a request. And
because and it's tough in that environment because prison and jail, no matter what.
It's different a little bit, right? Right?
It's a morbid, well, yeah, the politics are different. Different but same.
Yeah.
Because our turnover, we don't have big turnover like you guys do.
Yeah, we have bad turnover.
Same rules apply. You know, if I do this,
for one, I got to do for all.
So you know, the young ones I had to explain. Okay, if you do this, you gotta find a way. Everyone's watching you. You go out of your way.
Everyone.
It doesn't mean like you're gonna go out of your way. Going out of your way, it sounds very drastic. Mm-hmm. It could be the most smallest things. You go inside the supply closet, the broom closet, and because one guy asked you for a cap full of detergent to clean his floor in his cell. Well, he asked you, but 20 others saw it. So then you're being respectful and you're being kind to him. Mm-hmm. You're being humane. Yeah. Because a lot of us COs are very inhumane. Mm-hmm. So you're being humane. I've done it 100 times. But I've done it 100 times, but as a veteran cop, I knew how to handle that backlash. Hey, can I? No, get away from me. What do you want? No, I didn't give nothing to him. Yeah, you did. No, I didn't. Well, you being a rat? I'm gonna go tell them that you're telling on them. So all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, you flipped it on them.
So I flipped it on them, but in a funny way where the guy's like, come on, G. But that's a relationship I had with them.
Yeah, rapport built already.
But as far as a youngster, where you're creating your own template. No sooner that he walked away with that little cap of detergent, give it 10 minutes. Someone's gonna, hey, can I have this paper? Can I have this? Hey, do you have any blank paper? Do you have any? Oh yeah, I got some here. And little do you know it, and they're not swarming you, but that one you gave 3 sheets of white paper from the copy machine, which you shouldn't have. All of a sudden, there's another guy asking you for, hey, can I borrow the pencil sharpener? Hey, can I borrow? I need to need one staple, and it's like one thing after another. One thing.
It just continues to build,
and it continues to build, and then every day it'll be something. Every day it'll be something, back and forth. So I agree. No, it's your partner knowing it was
just clothing at the
dangerous,
time,
right? It was not a dangerous thing, but said, I'm going to let him wear himself out.
Yeah.
And then
I did.
And then here comes the big brother. Come here.
Yep.
Let me tell you about the Papa Bull and the Baby Bull story. you know,
Oh yeah. I did hear. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So always teaching them never be in a hurry.
Because you're talking about the little bulls, like, Dad, we're gonna run
Yeah,
down.
run,
We could walk down.
and then
Yeah,
we have a feast. So
that's funny.
that's probably then.
Big thing for me too was like the pins. So you know how like, well, I don't know how CDCR is a little different because you guys can wear your jumpsuits too, right? But you guys could wear your Class Bs, no? Where it's like
Yeah.
so with us at the time, because the jail has transitioned. Obviously, we're like a baby CDCR.
Right.
If you guys do something, we're gonna mirror you soon, right? Because we're turning into a prison with AB 109, and we can get into details about that way later, right? I mean, that's this.
It's probably gonna bore them. Like,
No, yeah. This is like a part one of, because remember, 27 years, and we could talk about.
Oh, we could jump around. Yeah.
And so we used to be able to put our pins on our uniform,
Writing pen.
right? Writing pin.
Yeah.
To like write down, say I'm gonna. We used to bring in people. Hey, all right, Gonzalez, boom, 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 right?
Yeah.
And one day I misplaced my pin. I used to have a bad habit of leaving it on the desk because we would do like inmate requests, right? So say I'm gonna do your visiting list, right? So I mark the visiting list off, right? And then what in a jail/prison, right? Something's always going on. So say I think we had like a medical thing, right? Well, I'm new officer, so I go out. Well, I left my pin there. So one of the OGs takes my pin, puts it in his pocket,
Yep.
and I didn't notice. I was like, oh shoot, right, dang. So I went to break, and my locker got another pin. So then I did, and so then they jammed me up after the shift. Hey, where's your everything good? You good? Yeah, good. You got your binder? You got yeah. Good. What about your pin? And so I'm at the time I'm thinking like, I didn't. I wonder who. You know what? I don't know if an inmate got it or. And I was like, well, yeah, I got one right here. Yeah, but where's the original pin they start the shift with? And then they start, big brothering me, but bullying me at this point. They're like, well, we could go run the cameras and we could figure it out. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, I don't know where it's at.
For me, I would have been like, hey, it's just one of those pack of 100 big pins. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, but I was so new,
But so you're new, so there's a learning lesson.
And so I was like, I don't know. I'm so sorry I don't have it. And then so the one OG goes, what if that fucking pin ends up in one of your brother's necks? And I'm just like, dang. And it just made me think, right? And so then the JTO, because he was just an OG, the JTO comes in and is like, here's your pin. He's like, look, man, he even tells him, bro, it's a little drastic, but he's like, he goes, that can happen.
It can.
It can happen.
Yeah.
He's like, but you gotta always remember this thing right here, bro. If an inmate's gonna get this, like he goes, yeah, most likely they're gonna use it for ink to do tattoos.
Yes.
But he's right. They could make it into a weapon.
Yeah.
It may not have stabbed one of your brother or sisters, but what if they stab another inmate? How are you gonna go home knowing that was your pin? And so it made me always think, I was like, oh my gosh. So I always had, so when my trainees would do it, I'd grab their pin, put it in my pocket, right? Or whoever my partners were, they'd grab and I would, throughout the shift, I'd be like, hey, you good? You got everything you need? You checked in? Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know, my pen. Well, where did you last have it? So kind of messing with a little bit, not too crazy. And then when I saw that they were just stressed out about here's your pen.
Said, well, actually, this is the same pen that belonged to the OG. I took it from him. He didn't even know it. So anyway, so you keep it.
And then that would be, and see, that would defeat my whole purpose of my story when I'm trying to train. Because say that you got the OG that's not as squared away as say you, right? And then because you get a little older and you put in some time,
you get
complacent. A little bit complacent, right? So we would catch. So my trainee would start. Hey, I was like, great job, but we're not gonna go tell him nothing because we're just gonna end up fighting him. We're gonna have to call for additionals.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. But anyways, it's the little small details, like the smallest of details, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I thought this was a great first part one.
Absolutely.
Because we gave good detail. We talked a little bit about. Is there anything else that you want to touch on before we end part one? Because I can almost assure you when we throw it out, bro, I think we're gonna get swarmed with questions.
I don't think so. I think it was again. I'll say it again. Like I always do it. It's habit. We created a template for the tomorrow.
Yes.
The next day. Mm-hmm. So I don't see it. But welcome it. See what questions. Maybe some old partners of mine will chime in and say hi. And November 4th, I'm done. I say goodbye to everybody.
27 years.
27. I already visited CalPERS and family's happy. Still gonna work.
We'll talk about that part two.
Part two.
What you
Part
do
two.
on part two, we'll talk about like what after, right? Because
Absolutely.
it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. When they get to hear what you got going on and how it's aligning,
Right.
I think that alone will push us into another podcast.
Absolutely.
Because it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot that you've learned through your time,
Right.
But then also working military and then being in this, it's like
Right.
you learn a lot, right? Like I said, we touched on certain individuals. Like I gave how Duran does the examples,
Right.
And I know like he talks about he has like the security that he does outside, so you learn a lot in the corrections and the training you have to go through.
Right.
Like I tell you, I got sent to an interrogation class for my unit, and I use that all the time. And now I call it more like that. I'm coming closer to the Lord. I call it like discernment. So when I kind of come in and I read a person and it's never going to go away, and I only have 10 years of it. You have 27 plus your military. So you're going to always be this version.
Yeah. You start interrogating your kids.
You almost do, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, for example, like last night I come in, I don't know why I wake up at 1:30, use the restroom. And I told myself, cause I told my wife, I go, he's a correctional officer, babe. Like he's going to be here on time. And you text me at 7:30 en route. I was like, he's going to be here at the time he said. Most of my guests, I'll be there at 9, bro. 9:15, 9:30, right? And I noticed like all the CEOs so far that I brought on, they're here 15 minutes early. Yeah. And so I go,
What up?
No, I know. You ran into some traffic.
Oh, man. It was like I told you guys, I think it was a sign because I hit traffic on the 180. I hit it getting into Kerman, the construction.
And then Mendota has
trucks,
construction.
And I hit Mendota. Mendota blocked the whole road, so I had to read the traffic.
Redirect and
I go, where are these guys going? I saw cars going around.
Yeah.
I go, okay, one more block. That's a sign. I'm not supposed to go to his house. I'm gonna get there. So.
Yeah, no, you came, and I'm glad.
Yeah, thanks.
You dropped some gold, man. I felt like this was a lot, and like I said, when people do interact with us, like the point is, when I do talk about law enforcement and I bring law enforcement on, I want to be educational and informational, right? And we're not talking necessarily bad about departments or people. We're just giving how it can really be, right? And I feel like when we touched on it about what can happen, that happened to me, and I look at it sometimes as it's learning experiences. It's about maturing, as a person in general, as an officer, right? Because and then they're gonna lose this November 4th. There's all this experience is gonna go away.
Yeah.
And we'll talk on part 2 a little bit about. Or I could throw it in real fast. So I had Henkel and Gonzalez on. Henkel was in the women's prison,
right?
And so she wasn't bad mouthing this new officer, but she was talking about how this inmate comes out in a walker, and she has Pruno, right? And I guess the officer's brand new, so she's happy-go-lucky.
Sure.
Hey, good morning, and great to be here. And she's like, I like that about her.
Good.
But it's so innocent, right? But she goes, hey, she pulls her aside. She wanted to know if she was going to get the Pruno because Henkel says she spotted it, And so she asked the officer, hey, did you notice anything? No, what happened? She's like, that inmate had Pruno. No, it wasn't Pruno. It was Jello and fruit, right? And she goes, well, what do you think Pruno looks like, And obviously you being in, they call it hooch, I think, in there too, right? But Pruno, but gel-made alcohol, and it has a distinctive smell that you can't ever really. Once you smell it, it's like you're always gonna know. Okay, that's Pruno, right? And so she's telling the officer this, like, hey, you gotta. This is the little stuff you gotta watch out when I guess when you guys release them every hour and they go to yard and they go to their different spots, right?
Was the young officer
receptive?
Accepted
Yeah, she was receptive. Good, she took it in, and
that's the key right there.
And then well, Henkel. I explained to her too, like when I would explain when, she was under me and other officers, like she went through it, she's learned. And I feel like those are the best ones that when okay, I explained to them, I made my mistakes and other mistake I made, I just pass it down to my trainees. Like, hey, don't feel like I'm hammering you about the pin because that was me, bro. Phase 1, week 2, week 3, I'm holding my binder, getting the briefing. Like I was early. I was, from a small town,
Right.
And when I say I was a travieso, we did our thing,
right?
But I never got in trouble. I never went to a scared straight.
Right.
That probably would have adjusted me differently. Right. A lot of my family went to the military. So I tell you, I have a big respect for military people in general, law enforcement people. I remember when I would talk at Good Guys to people. That's how me and Leva started chopping it up.
Right.
And I was like, I would tell them like, no, bro. Like, if I was a street cop, I tell people, I think I would have already been in trouble. I would have been definitely on investigation. I was like, because if I draw my gun and I give you a warning, I call it the baseball method. So strike one, strike two, strike three. So if I'm telling you like, hey, Gonzalez, let me see your hands, and you're not complying, and when you're a CO, you're not going to get shot. So you have a little bit more leeway as far as why you can't, shoot this guy. Well, we don't have guns in there, but
Right.
with your taser, with your, with a pepper ball, you actually have it in the tower in prison. So it's a little different.
Well, it's not to
I know we can get
too far on that one, but yeah, our use of force is different at the lower level prison.
Yeah.
So there's no gun coverage
Yeah. Okay.
except in two of our buildings.
Okay. See, and then we could talk about that later.
Yeah, talk about that.
But see, mine was like when I was trying to explain to the person at the time, I was like, bro, if I'm going to pull my weapon,
Right.
and I go, what's going through my mind as an officer is like, I'm thinking of my wife, I'm thinking of my kids, I'm thinking of my family. Like, why aren't you listening to my directive? So if you're not showing me your hands, hey, Gonzalez, let me see your hands. Hey, Gonzalez, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Well, if I'm, and we articulate why we use force. And if you're coming at me in an aggressive tone or manner, I'm going to use, I wasn't trying to be as drastic. I was trying to make them understand like a street cop has to think fast.
Yeah.
Make that, it's a life and I know it sounds cliche, but it's a life or death situation.
Yeah, and it's scary because then you think about the now in the community, in social media, in the world, and our country is we're the bad guy from the start. We're the bad guy. That street cop is the bad guy right off the bat. Even when it's like, oh, come to find out that it was a good shoot, and it's like, no matter what, you'll be the bad guy.
Yeah.
In their eyes.
And what I'm trying to say is like, just like there's bad cops and COs, there's bad teachers, there's bad, employees. I feel like when we talked, I knew that it was going to be a good conversation because I felt like we had similar, I kind of was like you as an officer. Like I did my best to, if an inmate was, I never tried to address staff that was wrong in front of an inmate. I never wanted inmates to know that we weren't on the same page. Right. And I could not, and you know how it is, like, I could not like you probably. I probably couldn't stand you. I probably I didn't want nothing to do with you. But if I responded to assist you, you're my brother. You're my sister.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything in my power now to back you.
And that's one of many tough aspects of being not just a CO, but in law enforcement.
Yeah.
And tough one, I'd say, in hindsight, tough one for us to more so because if that guy wronged you, and I can tell you about 100 stories.
Yeah.
Not work related, but even the personal side.
Yeah.
Wronged you to where you thought of, you know what, I'm gonna end this guy. Because there's so many stories I've heard on those occasions that it's like, you cannot put these two dogs in the same building. Yeah, but they work in the same yard and there's going to be issues. And it's like, so, we got to find a way to, hey, kind of like with the inmates, hey, just keep the peace. Keep the peace.
Yeah.
And it very sketchy. It's like it was always a domestic thing. Again, we like everything else we talked about, we take 99% of the time, we'll take whatever's going on at home and we bring it to work. Sometimes the things at work, you engage with that home at the sports bar, at the restaurant, and you happen to work at the same place. And then again, another 100 different examples that stories that I know about those and how. And the magic question is, how do we mitigate this? How do we teach staff, hey, it's always easy to say, what happens out there, leave it out there, don't bring it to work. Oh, that's easy for the one who's not dealing with it.
Exactly.
Or even dealing with it as a friend. You can't say that, because, and we always say we don't want to see anybody get in trouble, get hurt. But in hindsight, hey, that's not your job. That's his and her job, not to keep their jobs. You're just going to get pulled into it because you're trying to be that bestie. It's like sometimes you got to let people be adults.
Yeah, you're right.
Unfortunately. You have to. So where you say, look, I tried to help you. I'm done. I'm going to wash my hands with this. You're bringing your stuff from the street here. And now we're turning into a soap opera.
Yeah.
And every prison has 10 soap operas going on.
That's so true.
The Love and the Restless. And you got Dynasty and all the old shows jumping off. And you just, if you're a cool guy, like, man, who's doing what? Like, coffee in the morning. It's typical. Hey, man, who's doing what? Who's doing who? Where they doing it? And woo this and that. And people are like, oh, you know nothing. Shh. I'm like, I don't care. It's your drama, not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a while, you just go, you get so sick of it.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And it's like, you guys created this. You guys created your mess. Now you can't work over here because you broke up with him or her, him with her, and they got kids, but she's dating this guy now. And the sad thing,
it's like high school.
And the ripple effect is going back to that, is your partner's affected because, like, I'm not even in that, but I'm affected because now you can't work here because he works in this area.
Yeah, we'd call them KSs, low keep separates. Yeah.
See, you have a program now, but it's like, it's sad because, like, look, because of that relationship, well, my partner has to be changed out, and it's sad. It's pathetic.
Yeah, no,
because again, it's, those not involved get affected by it.
That's so true.
By those actions, and we still haven't talked about prison politics.
Yeah, no, and I think we could do that for. I think when we release this and they see it, I think they're gonna be like, hey, you need to bring him back on for part 2.
Because I know, and you're not gonna get it. Names and more in-depth stories. My focus is here and tomorrow and the next day is to talk about things in general, where if it clicks in you, I hope that we teach each other, or you guys teach one another, because I'll be gone, is one, self-control at work, stuff at home, lock it in. No matter what you're going through at home in life, lock it in. It's going to be hard and tough. Breakups happen every day. But those are the one I put money on, my check on, are the main things that happen at work that causes conflict, causes people to end up in the mailroom, so to speak, and pending an outcome of an investigation. Things that you do at home. Because 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. The stuff at work, the use of force and this and that, there's less of that than what's going on at home that's affecting work right now.
Yeah.
And which is the whole psychological effect of
we didn't even get into that.
We didn't
mental
get
health.
into that. Yeah,
we can talk about that, like I said, part 2, because we're pretty much at where I like to say the limit for the podcast. I know some people, because as I'm learning about how to podcast, I feel like there's a certain amount of time frame that you hit, and then you kind of like leave it for the next time. Sure. Unless once this thing starts really getting off, I think like I would even like to do like just live, like they just see us go live and we can interact. This is down the road, obviously, right? Because this is all starting up. Like I told you, you're kind of I had Henko and Gonzalez on the other day, and now I have this Gonzalez on, but and that was kind of the law enforcement right there. But like, dude, I've been in the fight game. I've been interviewing teachers. It's been mayors. It's been cool. I've been doing different things. But my heart initially, like I said, I was in corrections for 11 years. So if I can go on and talk about it and help people, the best way that I can, they get 27 years of experience. They get to hear your story today. They get to kind of go over stuff, and we get to, really mold in why do you want to be a CO, or how it is to be a CO, what to watch out for, what to look out for, this, that, and the other. I think that's great to, to help out the future of these departments. Because when I'm hearing, remember, I haven't been out of the game 3 years now. So when I hear from, like, my brothers and sisters still hit me up, I still talk to them. Like I was trying to tell you, I had a buddy of mine that he pretty much calls me every day, and we don't always talk law enforcement, but when we do, he's like, oh, you'll never change, huh? And I'm like, I think the mindset will always be there, but I go, as far as change, yeah, bro, I already changed. Like, I don't have to go to a restaurant no more. I can go to the mall now. Before, I wouldn't be step foot in the mall because in Fresno, it's all segregated. And once again, I know we can keep talking and go, but it's segregated off of like streets, you know, hoods, all this different. And so when I'll kind of look at certain people, I'll be like, okay, where's he from? Or let me try to figure this out. But it's just like
Fresno's, it's a small town,
yeah,
especially
it's a small, big town.
if you're in law enforcement. It's big. I mean, I've been pulled over in a sense. Guys that recognized me, they had paroled out of Corcoran, and at the end, it told me, you know what? And I did. I shook their hand, say, "How you doing? Hey, doing good?" Because they made it a point. Hey,
Yeah, come up to you.
hey, Gonzalez, and go, yeah, what's up? And that told me, you know what? I was an okay cop,
Yeah.
because he was willing to walk up and say hi to me and greet me. With one guy, a black dude, was with his mom. A couple of the guys were with their like a girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
But that told me in my eyes, there was a form of respect.
Yeah.
And
That's the biggest thing in there.
that's big.
Respect.
It's all, well, that's it. It's all you
That's
have
all it is.
All you have is your word.
I was gonna say that. That's all you have.
If you break your word ain't nothing.
Yep.
So that told me, okay, that's a good sign. It's never a bad sign if they say, of course, it's bad if they hit you up or you get jumped, but thankfully.
And then I think you could even tell us a story about that next time too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because I mean,
I got a few in my pocket.
Yeah,
a few stories out there.
But we'll save that for part 2 because I think we're teasing them at this point. We're keep
Yeah.
going because we can go, bro. We can
go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So like we start every podcast with the Bible verse. We end with the same Bible verses. Today's 2 verses were from John 3:16. The Word of God states, "For this is how God loved the world. He gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish but have eternal life." John 3:16. And then today's readings from Isaiah 26:4. "Trust in the Lord always, for the Lord God is the eternal rock." Isaiah 26:14. And with that being said, I want to thank you, sir, for coming on. And
Thank you.
We'll talk soon more, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty.
All right.
Appreciate you.